Guys, today I'm going to show you just how easy it is to change a condenser fan motor on these barred wall mount units. Now, the company I work for, we primarily deal with these wall mount units. So almost always I'm going to be working on a wall mount unit. That's just what we do, and that's all we work on. Every now and then we'll work on a mini split, maybe a bigger window unit, but this is the bread and butter, is the wall mount units, and more specifically they're the barred or the U-banks, but mostly the barred. So we get everything directly from the manufacturer. We are able to build a complete assembly. We've got the shroud, the motor mounts, the motor, and the fan blade. So I like to pre-assemble them and have 3 or 4 in the van at all times. So I'll show you just how easy it is to change it when you've got a bad condenser motor, which is the case in this unit. As you can see, our condenser fan is not spinning. It could be just a capacitor, but what I like to do is replace the condenser fan motor and the capacitor, especially when they're in this condition. You can see how rusty it is, how beat up it looks. Almost always the condenser fan seems to go out before the capacitor. That's odd, but that's what I see in the case, in almost every case. But when I replace the condenser fan motor, I like to replace the capacitor as well and just be on the safe side. So we'll go through the steps on how easy it is to do this change out here. So obviously we got to take off these side grills. Now all these are your screws here along the sides, and that's what holds the assembly in place. And here are all the materials that I need to do this change out. There's our new capacitor. Here's our fan assembly with a capacitor for the motor. We've got our snips, our dikes, our needle nose screwdrivers, a couple zip ties. That's basically what you'll need to change these out. And the environments these units are in is harsh on the unit. Very harsh. Just look at that. Crazy. Look at the dust there. So you can see the capacitor is not blown up. Don't get me wrong, it could still be faulty, but just by looking at it, it doesn't look too bad. It's rusty, it's dusty, but it's not too bad. But in any case, it's gonna get replaced. So back to the mount here. See how this shroud's got these screws. Gotta be careful with this line. Alright, now I like it to get my snips here, my needle nose. So these are the wires going to the motor. As you can see, I like to just cut them. Once we cut them, you move over this assembly. Just give it a push on the other side. And it just comes straight out. There we go. Now, right now would be the best thing to do is clean the coil, but unfortunately the customer is not paying for coil cleaning right now. But that is something that is definitely going to be recommended. Now you take your assembly, already put together, and just like it came out, it goes in. Now you gotta be careful with the wires there. Just as easily it came out, it goes in. Right back in. Let's give it a little help here. Here's the old fan wire. Common for the fan. Also for the fan. Just leaves us with our compressor and the common for the capacitor. Let's remove this old capacitor. There we go. We'll put in this new capacitor right here. Your new ones come with a separate terminal for the hard start kits. So that's interesting. Put a capacitor for the fan. Now let's grab the wires for the motor. There we go. And run it through. Now we can wire up capacitors. This is going to be our common. Contactor. And we have the wires for our capacitor. Now we can tidy everything up. Zip tie everything so our wires are not all over the place, especially so we don't get caught in the fan blades. We look good up here. Look at our excess. Okay. Now before we put everything back together, I like to turn it on and make sure that it's working. And there you go, guys. It's that easy to change the condenser fan when you have access to all the parts and you're able to build the fan assembly. It's just that simple. And if you guys work on these kind of units and you want to clean the condenser coil, you see how easy it is to remove the assembly to be able to get a nice thorough cleaning on that condenser fan and the condenser coil as well. Now we'll just put it back together.